Welcome to MILF,
I'm Courtney,
and I'm Jennifer.
and we are two moms into literary freedom. Hey Jennifer, are you ready for this wild ride of an episode here at MILF for Books?
I am so ready. I have no idea what's going on today, so I'm excited just for you to surprise me.
It's all about Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah, you're so disappointed. But listen, okay. So it's a little bit more than that. It's sort of about like the gospels that were banned. So there's a lot of Jesus's teachings that were censored by the church. And
Okay.
as a nerd, I find it very interesting. I'm going to try and make it as
I mean,
interesting
that
as
is
possible.
interesting considering that, banned books, that's on par for Christians.
Yeah, and I think so here's why I chose it. Because it has a lot to do with feminism. And we're seeing a lot of this like trad wife, trad girlfriend too. Like have you seen the whole like stay at home not wife but girlfriend thing?
I have not.
I bookmarked a few articles about like feminism and how like this shift from like MAGA Republicans, like extreme conservative Republicans, to like you just go to college to get your MRS degree, and like how we thought that was like in the past, but it's sort of
Right.
been seeing a comeback, and it's a
I've
little
seen that.
alarming.
Yes, I have seen that.
Yeah. So it even extends past just like getting married and having babies, and just like if you're not even married and you have to what like expect your boyfriend to care for you financially, not have a job, not be building your resume, not be building your skills, and then just hope that he pops the question.
Right.
So that's I saw something on social media, not TikTok because I don't do TikTok anymore because it's just shit. It's just complete shit now. Like you can't say shit on TikTok without getting banned.
Yeah, I'm still on there because that's like what I know. But
Yeah. But so
I
I tried to post a video, but it had like a curse word in the song and it got censored.
really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
we're
changed a lot.
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not like
They're all
Instagram's
owned by
anybody.
the
Yeah.
same not the same group, but same
Uh-huh.
people, so we're screwed.
Yeah, we are screwed. And Google too, and all this AI
Yeah.
bullshit too. Like,
Yeah.
oh man. So yeah, anyway, that's why I chose this episode. I think too I was thinking about oh, Blake brought me sushi. Sure. Thank you. No chopsticks. Am I supposed to use my fingers? I'll eat this later actually, because I'm the one doing most of the
Just
talking.
don't forget it there.
I know, right? This is the second time he's brought me sushi during a recording, so he knows I love my sushi. Anyway, so yeah,
Goodness.
I mean, March 8th. I know it's June 3rd, but that was International Women's Day. And so I think I wanted to just talk about feminism and all that.
Yeah.
And Mary Magdalene. So yeah,
Okay,
that's.
I recognize that name.
Mm-hmm. What do
Was she
you
the
know
one
of?
that was supposed to be his girlfriend? Not really, and they kind of made it seem like she was the whore or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
I remember
she's.
you mentioning it, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the last
Yeah.
episode? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what we're going to talk about today. But before that, thanks for listening. If you can interact with us, I think we're more on Instagram these days than TikTok. Um, but I don't know if Jennifer comes up with like a fun reel to post. I guess we'll post it there sometimes. But interact with us wherever you can. We have a Substack. It would help us understand
Yeah.
who's listening. Tell us if there's a book you want us to cover, that kind of stuff. But what else should we talk about before we get into the Bible?
Um, I've been kind of like tuned out, so I have no idea what's been going on.
That's right. Yeah, busy with work, which is a
I don't
good
know.
thing.
Like there's so much shit that happens that I can't even keep track. I don't even know what's
So yeah, it's really hard to keep up with all the things that are happening. It's Pride Month. Jennifer's going to cover a Pride book the next time we record. What book is that again?
like a love story, and it's
Nice.
by Abdi Nazmian. I'm
Okay,
sure I butchered that. I'm sorry.
sounds right to me. And what that's the Stonewall Honor book. Okay. Stonewall Honor Award. That's awesome. Yeah.
So far,
I'm
it's really
excited.
good too.
I'm excited to hear about that. Hi, Maple. You smell my sushi. I know. Um, so yeah, don't trip over these wires. Okay. So Pride Month, UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship
Ah,
to kick off
yes,
Pride Month. All these
I do
sweaty
love that.
macho guys.
I
Um,
did hear a lot of people plan on going, attending, and are buying tickets, and they're very gay and proud to be gay, and they plan
yes.
to be very flamboyant and cheer on and pretend it's an event that's for them, and I love that.
Keep talking.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how that plays out. I did hear also that he's very upset about his birthday party being canceled again this year.
Oh my God.
I haven't really seen the tweets but I just have seen posts about him having a whole meltdown and pretty much everyone backing out of
Hmm.
his little concert and shit, whatever.
Hmm.
So, I mean, love to see that,
I'm
but
not
it's
doing this.
not. I mean, he's totally made it his birthday party and
Yeah,
his thing. So, like, you can say that till you're blue in the face, but his actions say otherwise. Like,
right.
for the 250th birthday, his face is going on a passport. Who gives a shit about your face? Like, why not do something
Hmm.
that would
And
actually.
he's always just trying to put his name out there. Like, I do think, did you saw the video
I
of them
did.
removing his name from the Kennedy, was it the Kennedy Space Center? Or
I think, yes, the Kennedy Center. Something Kennedy Center.
and so
I
they
don't think
what renamed it from the Kennedy Center to the Trump Center? Why don't we know
I
anything
think
that
it
we
was
talk about?
called the Donald Trump and JFK Center. Like he
Oh,
his name to the top.
hmm,
Um, and they took it down. And
gotcha.
that was nice. Like that was a
Yeah.
good.
Hmm.
It's the little things, that just keeps a little bit of hope that,
Yeah,
he.
the little things. Yeah, and here's another little thing. It was June 1st, the first day of Pride Month, to kick off Pride. A judge, I'm not sure which level of judgery this was, but some judge somewhere was like, "Hey, you can't, discriminate against trans individuals in the military." So Pete Hegseth recently made it really like targeted trans individuals in the military. Like you can't be trans and in the military. And a judge said that's unconstitutional. So
I
that's a
did
little
see that
thing
too.
to celebrate as
Yes.
well.
That
Hmm.
was a good win too.
Hmm.
I did also see today while I was scrolling Facebook on my break that what is she? She ran for president or she was the
Kamala Harris? No.
no, 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 no. Huckabee,
Oh,
Sa-
Huckabee.
Sarah Huckabee.
Sarah Huckabee. Yeah.
She decided to name June Fertility Month
Mm.
in a way to kind of downplay Pride Month,
Hmm.
and make it some sort of like heterosexual holiday or something for some reason. I don't know.
That's bullshit.
Yes. And in a way, like knock down feminism as well, because like
Yeah.
again, say like all we're good for is
Hmm.
reproducing.
Yeah, apparently all we're good for is yeah, and we're going to talk more about that and how it relates to like Mary Magdalene and females in the church and stuff like that. I was going to say something else though. Oh, I gave blood today. As you can see, you might
Ooh,
be
go
wondering
you.
why I have this like black bandage on my arm, but I'm O negative, which I'm so proud of. And I mean not really, I don't care, but my family's always like quit talking about how you're O negative. We don't care. It's not that. And I'm like, well, they're
That's like
always trying
liquid
to get my
gold,
blood.
right?
Yeah, they're trying to get my blood. They're like, "Can we just come to your house?" I'm like, "Sure." And so, if you have O negative blood, they will come to your house. It's called One Blood. Get out of here, Maple, trying to eat everything. And they actually came and it took 20 minutes and they took some of my blood and it was super easy and I got a bunch of free stuff. And so yeah, if you're O negative and you're
Okay.
not donating blood, they really want you to donate it. And
Yeah, because it's like universal, right? Like
hmm, hmm,
your blood could be used for any person
yeah,
for a transfusion.
yep. O negative is like the universal donor. Yeah. So um yeah, that's why I'm eating the sushi
Cool.
because I have been feeling super woozy all day because of it.
Uh,
Hmm.
what is it?
Anywho,
With comes
hmm?
great responsibility,
Oh
right?
yeah,
But I was
with
saying
great
with greatness comes I don't know what I was thinking.
With great power comes great responsibility. That's the power of my own
There you
negative
go.
blood, right? Yeah. I just have always been pregnant or breastfeeding or getting tattoos.
I was
And
gonna say a fresh tattoo.
those three things make it impossible to, or really hard to give blood. So finally I was like, I can do this. But um and also my family was in a punk music video. That
I
was
saw
super
that the
fun.
kids did really good. You gotta
Yeah.
post it.
Post it
Share
to our
it in
account.
the yes.
Okay. I'll post it to Instagram. It'll probably get censored on TikTok, but because it's like a family who's like on the rocks. Like the mom and the dad are fighting. The dad's like drinking, um, because they're fighting about bills, I guess. And that scene was hilarious for us to record because we didn't, I mean, we definitely fight, but we just kept laughing. And so the first time we shot that scene, I was like, okay, in my head, I was like, okay, I'm gonna accuse him of cheating on me with my cousin. Because I had just been talking to my cousin and that was just on my mind or something. And so I was like, where'd you get this hotel bill? Or was it my cousin? And then we just started cracking up because we couldn't keep a straight face. So it was
That's
pretty fun.
funny.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
looked really good, and I was impressed with the kids acting.
Yeah,
The whole hand on the back of the
the
window.
window, she did that
Yeah,
unprovoked. She's
that
really
was really good.
good. Yeah, I was like really surprised with her. And because the older one, she didn't make it into the video, but the younger one did because they only needed two kids. And the older one was like,
Okay.
I want nothing to do with this.
She's at that age where, it might
She's
not
like,
be cool or it might be, and she's like, I'm not
right,
risking it.
right, yeah. So that was, and the coolest part for me was getting to drive that old truck. So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, there's a shot of me like dragging her by the arm and then getting her in the truck and then me driving away. And then she just puts her hand on the window, like all forlorn that she has to leave her brother because her brother's biking behind her to give her the flamingo stuffed animal. And
Uh,
that part like really broke her brother's heart.
yeah.
In real
Oh,
life, like like he was too emotional. He was like, this is like hurting my heart to think of our family separating.
yeah.
I was like,
Oh,
it's just a movie, buddy, or it's just a, music
you're
video.
just acting.
And at one
Oh,
point,
that's so sweet.
there were real tears, and I was like, just use it,
Right.
and so I kind of pushed him to just sort of like go through the scene with those emotions, just so we could get it done, and he didn't have to think about
Right.
it anymore. Like I didn't want to calm him down and then have him do it again. So I just like kind of like I felt like a stage mom. I was like, get out there,
Yeah.
use those emotions.
Keep the
But
tears coming.
yeah, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, but yeah, I mean that was obviously a one-time thing. Our family is not in the show business.
Well, you never know, because I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, they did pretty good.
Yeah, maybe more punk bands will ask us to be in their videos.
Are they local?
Yeah, I think it was a collaboration between Little Low, which is a female singer band, and then Waves, which is the I guess the lead singer is a male. But I don't know. This is music that my husband listens to. I listened to a little bit of Waves and Little Low and I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it
I'll
was
listen to
good.
more. Yeah, the song was good. It
Yeah.
was a collaboration between two bands. And
Okay.
one is local, but I think the other one's based like in New England, like
Oh,
up north.
cool.
Hmm.
That's really cool.
Yeah, because she had to shoot the singer from Little Low had to shoot her part up north. So they just
Okay.
like I don't know if you watched
Merged
the whole
it.
video, like at the
I saw
end.
the clip you sent, which
Oh,
is
okay.
all, I didn't know if there was more to it.
Oh yeah, sorry. That should give you some context. So June 5th, which is 2 days from now, is when they are going to release the full video, and then you'll
Oh,
see
okay, okay.
the brother and the sister grow up, and then the lead singer from Waves and the lead singer from Little Low are the brother and the sister,
Oh,
which
that's
is really
cool.
cute. Yeah, so I thought I was sending you the whole music video, but when the whole music video comes out, I'll post it. This was
Okay.
just a little teaser for because they released
Okay.
the song on June 5th. So
Very cool.
I know. I thought I was like super. I felt super lucky to be in a music video. Like, who can
Yeah.
say they were in a music video? So
Imagine how cool if they take off and then like it's on
right,
MTV. I don't know if that's still a
right.
thing.
Is
Is
MTV
that,
still a
I don't
thing?
know. on
Is Carson
YouTube.
Daly still alive?
He is. I saw him recently, not
Okay,
in person,
good.
obviously,
So
but
he's not
on
dead.
some show, and I was like, holy shit, like
Hmm.
that's crazy.
Forgot
Because
about
he's
you,
old now, which
TRL.
means I'm old.
Yeah. Listen, I feel like even today's youth would agree that we need to bring back MTV and TRL
Yeah.
and like those sorts of things. Like I don't
And the
like this.
videos.
Yeah, the videos. It's art, you know?
Yeah,
That's
I
why
miss the videos.
yeah, and I'm glad, they still put out videos, but then it's just on YouTube and then like there's no ceremony about it. Like there needs to be a
Right.
ceremony, and like you
I
vote
don't
on which
search
one.
out videos like that, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes like on Spotify, which I hate that I listen to Spotify, but I do.
I mean, what
Um,
else can you do?
I know.
I know what
They'll
you can
show
do
like
actually.
little clips of it, and
Hmm.
I'm like, "Ooh, I wonder what the rest of the video is," but I'm still too lazy to go search it up. So I just need
Yeah.
a show that has it.
Hmm.
What else did I miss that's going on that's crazy? Like I feel
Well, I mean, I guess on like a serious sad note, you know, Gaza is completely destroyed and there is no ceasefire, and Netanyahu is completely diabolical and insane and just murderous and genocidal and all the things.
now that you
And
mention that,
mhm,
I thought I saw a post saying that apparently Trump told them like nobody
yep,
likes you, everyone hates you.
mhm, yeah. But
Like that's how bad it's gotten.
right, but it's not like he's not like defending, Palestinians or
Oh no.
Lebanese, how do you Lebanese
Yeah, I think
people,
Lebanese.
Lebanese because now it's like, okay, Netanyahu has accomplished what he wants to accomplish in Palestine, and now he's moving on to Lebanon. And I mean, that's just what it seems like with the media that I have been consuming. My
Right.
reels have been telling me, and who the fuck actually knows what's happening? Like, and
Right.
then I'm not saying that, you know, it, Lebanon isn't being bombed because I see it with my own eyes and all
Right.
that. I'm just saying the main news stream isn't talking about what's happening. And so we're having to piece together what's happening over there just from like all these independent sources. And from what I can gather, Lebanon is really taking a beating right now and it's really sad. And it's sort of like Palestine 2.0.
Yeah.
Um, and so uh, I don't know why Trump said that to Netanyahu, but I know it wasn't in defense of people.
No, no, it's probably
Mhm.
just because he's getting criticized for it.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming because he's self-centered and he only gives a shit about himself.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. He's like Homelander from The Boys, which
Yeah.
I'm continuing to watch. It is so good. I love it so much. It's like a nice little escape because it's so
Yeah.
ridiculous, but it's also very relevant because, Homelander is very much like Trump, you know?
Very much. And
Yeah.
just as delusional.
Yes. Yes.
So
And Netanyahu, you know.
I saw a clip of Dr. Oz. Did you see that one?
No, I know he's
Talking
in
about
that bag too.
yeah. So they asked him if Trump is doing okay, why does he continue to see doctors like so often? I
Hmm.
don't know if it was like daily or some shit. And his answer was, and this is, not word for word because I just saw the clip, um, something along the lines of, oh, because he loves acing the test so much that he continues to go back to continue, like some bullshit like that. Like he does so well on these exams, like they're real
Wow.
like tests.
The three-word tests. Yeah. He does so well on remembering the three-word test. Apple, baseball, shoe.
Right.
I
So
remembered all of them. I remembered apple, then I remembered baseball, then I remembered shoe. I did it.
it's it's fucking wild. I was like, I literally feel like I'm in a skit. Like there's no way this is real life.
Right. This
And
can't be like when am I gonna wake up?
and then I was like, who's buying this shit? Who's believing that? And I was like, never mind. Because I know who.
I know,
I know who.
it's wild. Like we still have well, I went to a school board candidate forum last night and nobody mentioned Trump. So
Really? Oh, so
Hmm.
they're starting to like distance themselves a little.
Hmm. Yeah,
Huh.
even Will Furry, who was he's relevant to bring up because he was running for like what was he running for? He was running against that
Senate, right?
yeah, he was running against that asshole that we protested, remember? Um
A fine.
Randy Fine. Yeah, he
Randy
was
fine.
running. So isn't that Congress? I don't know. I don't really fucking care. But anyway, he was running against him and he was like
Quickly
talking
dropped
about
out.
yeah, he was trying to get Trump's endorsement, because he got Ron DeSantis's endorsement for school board, and he was like they're all just trying to get Trump's endorsement, because
Yeah.
sometimes Trump will do that. Like he'll endorse small time candidates like just to do it. But but he dropped out because he knew he was going to lose, and now he's probably going to lose the school board race to be honest, because his competition is really good. And
Really.
mhm.
Don't get my hopes up, Courtney, because I
No,
really want him
his
out.
comp, I know. Yeah, I can't even believe I brought myself to the school board. I was like, oh, so I walked in and he's like, Courtney, long time no see. And I just ignored him. I was like, fuck you. Like, I'm not talking to you. Um,
Yeah.
this like, how dare you try and talk to me after you accused me of giving porn to kindergartners? Like you accused me of being dangerous to children,
Yeah.
a teacher of 10 years, and like you think I'm gonna speak to you in public? But anyway, his competition is Rob Wood, and Rob Wood's wife was a teacher at Old Kings, and I talked to him for quite a bit last night, and my thermometer question for him was, how do you feel about the Guardian program? Which, for those of you listening, the Guardian program would arm teachers with guns, right? My That's correct. And
Teachers and school
official,
employees.
yeah. Mhm.
Janitor could have one.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think their idea is like, oh, just the dean will have one, or the principal, and it's like, okay, doesn't matter. But yeah, the in this world, a janitor could have one, or a teacher who is angry and having a bad day, and
Right.
who knows, maybe I don't know.
Or
I don't.
let's just focus on the fact that most teachers don't want to have guns. Like
Right.
most of
Yeah.
them are like, no, thank you.
Yeah. There's no point in even like talking. Yeah, because it's just the most ridiculous and unsafe idea that you can come up with. But there are people on the school board like Christy Chong in the past who have supported or who have like hinted at supporting the Guardian program. And Will and Christy, both of them talked about, oh, we'll talk, we're open to it. We're open to talking about
Right.
it. I don't want to hear that. So I asked Rob Wood
Yeah,
that.
they definitely support it. And I
Yeah.
mean, Christy Chong's dad owns a gun
Oh,
store,
that's her
so
dad. I thought it
that
was her
tracks.
husband. It's her dad. Okay.
No, her husband works or worked, I don't know about now because I don't keep up
Hmm.
with him, but he works for the dad at the gun
Oh,
shop, but it's the dad's shop.
gotcha. I knew there were guns involved. But anyway, Rob Wood said no, he does not support the Guardian program. He supports,
Okay.
maintaining a relationship with the sheriff's department and the school resource officers. But fixing that partnership so it's a little bit more fair, financially, I guess, because if you attend school board meetings, you would know a good chunk of our money goes towards the school resource officers, which sucks because we don't have that much money to begin with.
Right.
But
Right.
hey, the school resource officers have to get paid too. It's just, they're
Right.
getting paid a lot more than teachers. So that
That's
sucks.
yeah, that
But
sucks.
anyway.
Sucks.
Mhm.
That sucks, and I will give credit where credit's due. So far, any resource officer that I have had interactions with at school have always been very well liked by the students
Mhm.
and overall have been good. But yeah, it sucks that they're getting paid more
I will
than
say yeah, that's a testament to our program working, our relationship with the sheriff's department and the professionalism that our resource officers do portray. But there are parts of the country where there are too many SROs in schools, and they are busting kids for things like dress code, and it's turning into more of a jail setting than a school setting.
yeah,
And so you
that's
could
not.
go, yeah, you could go too far in one
Yeah,
direction for sure. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing I'll say about that school board meeting is a lady asked about why To Kill a Mockingbird was banned and what are they going to do to get it back. And that really threw them off. They were like, "What?" They
really.
all they all act like all the conservative assholes. They were all like, Oh, I didn't know. Like, bullshit. Of course, you don't know that To Kill a Mockingbird is banned or that I Know Why
Right.
the Caged Bird Sings or anything by Toni Morrison or anything that
Right.
includes sexual assault, you know. And so that's what their answer was like, well, we have to follow the Florida statutes and constitution. The cutest little old lady stood up and was like, show me where in the Florida Constitution it says to ban books. And she went off for just several minutes and they just had to sit there and
Love
listen to
that.
her. And I loved it. It was awesome. So,
I have to say, I love the older
hmm
Democrats or
hmm
left-leaning um generation in
yeah,
our community
they're
because
over it. Yeah.
they are so amazing. Like I'm Facebook friends with a few, and they are at the protests. They are showing up at, you know, Fine's office and whoever's office and
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
sit-ins. And I'm like, I love that because,
hmm
we don't have the time to do it. When
Mm-mm.
I was a stay-at-home mom, I had a little bit of time to do it, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And so I love that they're there and they're staying active and they are on top of,
Yeah. Yeah. So
are
that
on
was
their asses.
yeah, that was last night. It was the Hammock Community Association. You know, they organized the forum, and you could tell it was very like it wasn't. I don't want to say. I mean, for lack of a better word, it was left. It was liberal. It was like we're sick of this like MAGA bullshit, you
Yeah.
know. And so you could tell all those formerly MAGA candidates that I ran against 4 years ago were pretending to be moderate. Do you need to pause?
Yeah. Hey,
Okay, I'll pause.
do you not hear me recording?
Actually, I don't want to pause. This is fun. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna take that out. I think I'm gonna leave that in. Um, but anyway, yeah, so like 4 years ago, they were all like, Trump endorsed me, and you want to give porn to kids, and Trump is gonna protect us, and now they're all quiet and pretending to be moderate. Jill fucking Woolbright, the lady who called the police on a librarian for
Yes.
having All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson not even available to middle schoolers. It was just in the back room. Like
Right.
she hadn't even vetted it yet. I know that librarian. She would have
Yes.
vetted that book and she would have been like, nope, this is not for middle school. And
Correct.
she wouldn't have put it out there. She would have given it to the high school librarians and been like, hey, you probably want to, you might want to put this on the shelves because it
Right.
is appropriate for high school.
Yes.
So, anyway, she was there and she, when that question came up, they were like, this is pornographic. And they're like, these books are worse than pornographic. I'm like, it's worse than
She's
porn.
still on that shit.
Yes. And she didn't name the book All Boys Aren't Blue. She didn't say
Right.
she called the police, obviously. And no one would let me ask a question. I kept raising my hand. They're like, no, we cannot give the
Uh,
mic to Courtney. Um, but yeah, she was just and I told you she's writing her own book. So when that comes out, we'll have to get it banned.
we'll have to figure out a way.
Hmm
We're not for banning books, but some people deserve it, and she's one
Yeah,
of them.
absolutely. Yeah.
Just to
Yeah.
get a little taste of her own medicine.
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
say,
Yeah.
you
I mean,
know.
she talked to me and honestly, out of all of them, she is the most conversational and the most charismatic. So like I don't really mind talking to her. Like it like I won't have a conversation with Will, but like I'll have a conversation with Jill because she really knows how to like have a conversation. But like I
Really.
definitely yes, like and I just felt kind of bad for her. I was like, you think that you can win after you stood on stage at a mega church and said every employee in Flagler schools was possessed by the devil? Like, you think that you can come back from that? That shit's on YouTube, lady.
But it scares me because she might, you
No,
know?
she's not. So she's running. So her opponent is Kathy Moon, who I love,
Yeah.
and she's great and she has a lot of experience in with the post office and like federal funds and I don't know no one's listening to this to know who to
Right.
vote for, so I don't need to go into it, but the point is I do think that Kathy has a really good chance, and it's only two, and when it's down to two and it's determined in August, you have a lot better chance of actually campaigning and getting the people to come, because not everyone comes out to vote in August, but
Right.
everyone comes out to vote in November. And
Yes.
that's how I lost. I had, thousands of people voting against me who had never met me. who had never
Right.
listened to me speak. They had never asked me a single question about the schools or my platform. They just got these dishonest mailers from, Ron DeSantis's
Right.
campaign to make sure no quote woke, former school teacher got on the school board in the entire
Yeah.
state of Florida. So anyway,
And I feel
um,
like this year people are tired of Trump's bullshit. There's
mhm,
still the hella crazy MAGAs that are hardcore for Trump, but those that were like, yeah, I voted for him, now they're like, I would not do it again.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
hopefully,
I know we always talk about this. Like time will tell, midterms will tell. It'll be
yeah,
very revealing. I'm looking forward to it. Get out and vote if you're not already registered. It's getting time, it's getting close. There's going to be
yeah.
local elections that you want to be a part of. Go to your
Make sure you're still
library. We can help
registered.
you. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can check on your computer, but if you don't know how, go to your library because
Yeah.
librarians are very helpful and they want to help you register for vote. And while you're there, get a library card, support all those services.
Hey,
Yeah, download Libby, Cloud Drive. What are the other
look at
ones?
my shirt.
Oh, support your local library. Yes, I love that shirt. Love it. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good update.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's get into it. Let's go back to 1945 in Egypt. Okay. There was
Okay.
something called there's a town there called Nag Hammadi, Naghamadi, Nag Hammadi. That's not important. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Um, it's just the name of the town. Okay. Well, I have my
Got it.
handy.
I'm writing it down in my
Yeah.
imaginary note.
Okay. So, have you ever heard of Gnosticism?
What's it?
G Gnosticism. It's Gnostici.
No,
I don't know how to
have
spell
not.
it. Have you heard of
Just by
like,
you spelling it, I'm like, nope.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Didn't either. Like maybe I'd heard the word before, but I didn't know what it meant. So Gnosticism is an early form of Christianity that, long story short, has been censored or deliberately oppressed by the church, by the Orthodox Church. So if I say the word Orthodox, that's like, Catholic, traditional, like traditional Christianity.
Okay.
Gnostic is going to be early Christianity, and it's a little bit more metaphysical. It's a little bit more hippy dippy. Okay. You're gonna find out soon enough. I'm a big fan of Gnosticism. So
Okay.
this all started when I wanted to learn more about Mary Magdalene. So I got a book. Of course, I don't have it with me. Um,
You could do like what do you call it? Screen
P
on
and yeah,
screen,
picture in picture. What a good
picture in
idea. All
picture.
right. I'm gonna do that. It's and you'll see the name of the author. She's great. It wasn't an informative text about Mary Magdalene. It was more of like the author's journey in becoming a happier person and how Mary Magdalene helped her do that. And
Okay.
so it got me interested, but then I was like, the nerd in me really wanted the straight facts, right? So I went down this rabbit hole and I found this lecture series that I paid like $6.99 for on Apple TV, by Dr. David Brackey from Ohio State University. And he is so smart. And my kids are like, this is so boring. How do you listen to him? But he's got one of those voices that like kind of calms you down. Like the guy from Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like listening to his voice and it just sort of lulls you and you're like listening to what he's saying. That's kind of how it is. So like,
Okay.
yeah, it's been interesting. It's been fun to listen to. But so he's telling me all about Gnosticism, right? And so in 1945, not too long ago, right?
Right.
Two Egyptian farmers were, I don't know, they were digging a hole. I don't know why they were digging a hole, but they found leather bound, not leather, papyrus bound books in this hole. And it turns out to be Gnostic writings from like either 150 AD to like 300 AD. So like
Okay.
really a really long time ago. First of all, can you imagine just like finding something that old? Like
No.
what the heck would you do? I'd be like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, I mean, I guess they didn't know how old it was, but like they could tell it was really, really fucking old.
Right.
But
I imagine it would be like kind of like falling apart almost.
yeah, yeah, like they could tell. I think you could tell like it was, bound in papyrus. They probably recognized that part at least,
Yeah.
and the fact that it was in Egypt, like they're aware
Right.
that this, a lot of shit happened in this area,
Yeah.
in these
That's what I
parts
was
of the
thinking.
world,
Like if I found something in my backyard here, I'd be like, Who buried this trash?"
right?
But if I
Yeah.
found it in Egypt, I'd be like, "Oh, what kind of treasure is this?"
hmm Um, so their mom, so they bring it home, and their mom is like, "This is trash," just like what you said, and she starts to like rip out the pages and use them as kindling. I'm gonna
Me,
go
but I
with
don't know what it's called.
kindling for her fire, right? So she burns some of these pages, right? And I think according to them, it was only a few pages, right? And so they're thinking, they're smart, and they're like, we're going to get some money for this. So they try and sell it. They ultimately don't get as much as they probably should have gotten. But they sold it. And anyway, scholars got their hands on it and figured out that it was the Book of Mary, the Book of Thomas. It's not important. I mean, you could look this up if you're interested later, but four Gnostic Gospels, right? That were in the original Bible, but had since been removed because of the information that they contained. So it's like the OG of censored books, if you think about it,
Right.
you know?
And so is this something that someone hid and buried to preserve it?
Well, they don't
Is
know,
that
but
like
I
the
guess
idea?
yeah, I would say just from learning and listening to the series, I would say that, some monks, or for lack of a better word, Gnostic monks, they knew that this was censored material, so they wanted to keep it safe, and so they buried it. And this
Okay.
isn't the only place where Gnostic writings have been found like this. So I think there are four other parts of the world, within the past century, where Gnostic writings like these have been discovered, and they overlap a little bit. So it's like, oh, here's a
Yeah.
page that matches the page over here. So it's like evidence that this is legit. This
Wow.
isn't this isn't a scam. There actually have been
Right.
scams in the past, but they know this one is not a scam. Um, so I'm trying to find where I had the story about it, but of course I'm not organized. Oh, here it is. His name was Muhammad Al Saman, and he's a peasant in Nag Hammadi in 1945. And the other reason that these were so well intact is because Egypt has a really dry climate, and they were sealed in earthenware jars. So like just regular clay that had been,
Right.
fired to be a jar. Um, so they were like really well intact, and they were able to be translated by scholars pretty easily. Some of the characters, like Noah, Adam, and Eve, I'm sure you all know about those guys. They're in the
Right.
Gnostic Bible, but it's a pretty different story. So
Oh.
yeah, so I'm going to start with that. So in the Gnostic version of Adam and Eve is vastly different from the Orthodox version of Adam and Eve. In the Gnostic version, um, there is no snake that tricks Eve into eating the apple. It's actually an eagle that
Huh.
doesn't trick her into eating the apple. He sort of like shares this like really important knowledge of like, hey, if you eat the apple, you will gain knowledge that will help you see that you're trapped in a world created by a false god. Okay. And so the Old Testament God, I feel like most people know that there's an Old Testament and a New Testament of the Bible,
Right.
right? And there's
Right.
an Old Testament God and there's a New Testament Jesus, right?
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the Old Testament God? Or if you don't have any, that's okay. But
So the Old Testament to me is more like obviously antiquated. It's more just from what I understand and kind of remember from my religious days. It's more like where all the rules are and you
yeah,
can't do this, and you can't do that, and you're going to hell, not hell, but this is
bingo.
bad.
Yep, good. Yeah, good
Okay.
for you. You remembered some of your religious education. But yeah, it's like the Old Testament was like all the things that you could and couldn't do, right? I think one of them, like you couldn't eat pork, right? You couldn't let your semen touch the ground, like
You can't
weird
wear
things.
like linen or something, right? Like you could only wear like certain like
I don't know. I mean, sure, maybe. I
cloth.
don't know. I don't know all the rules, but like also like the God in the Old Testament was sort of like an angry, selfish God. Like if you don't worship him, and if you worship any other god, then that's bad. You're going to hell. Like this
Right.
Old Testament God flooded the entire world and killed everyone on it except for Noah and his family because Noah was the only person that was worthy. Noah was the only person that actually worshiped him as the God, right? So to me, and as a kid growing up, who I didn't grow up in a very Christian household. There was not a lot of Bible study. Um, but it just didn't really make sense to me that the God that we're supposed to be worshiping and like thanking would have like killed everyone, you know,
Right.
and had all these like really hard rules to follow. And so this is when I discovered Gnosticism, it all started to click. Okay. So think of it as like, so after Jesus died, they were quote unquote Christians, but they were like followers, his followers, right? He
Right.
died and like they're like, okay, this guy's dead. We need to make sure that his word lives on, right?
Right.
But Jesus, they had all these ideas and Jesus wasn't around for them to clarify their questions. So they're like,
Right.
they don't really know. So they're gonna make it up themselves, right? But they have all these competing viewpoints. So it's almost like a presidential election,
Right.
where you're fighting for your own platform. You're like, no, this is how it should be. No, this is how it should be. And so the Gnostics had a very clear idea of how it should be. And in their idea, the Old Testament God, his name was Yahweh. Have you ever heard of Yahweh?
I have heard that before.
Okay.
Yes.
Yahweh, also known as Yalda Ba'oth, which is a little
That one.
harder to say. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I've heard of Yahweh, but I'd never heard of Yalda Ba'oth, but they're like the same being, I guess. And they're
Okay.
basically like a bad god, essentially. And
Oh, okay.
so he is a false god, and he created the Garden of Eden, and he created Adam. So I want to back up to how Yahweh was created because he's like a lesser god, but he was created by this bigger god on accident. Similar to how Satan is like a fallen angel, I guess.
Okay.
So this is sort of like a fallen god. A lot of this stuff is like super familiar because they just copy their stories
Right.
like centuries after century. It's just like a repurposed story. Like a lot of these stories come like there's similarities from Plato. There's similarities in native and indigenous American creation
Mm.
myths. So it's
Okay.
like all of these things sort of overlap and they've all been sort of like recycled, which is
Right.
interesting. But anyway, so Yahweh was accidentally created by a female god. And so Gnosticism has a lot more femininity in it than Orthodox Christianity. And it is a really like far out trippy just like organization of just like you would think that the people that wrote this were just tripping, just mad tripping on LSD because it is just
Okay.
wild. They were definitely tripping on some sort of mushroom because there's like the divine invisible God, unknowable God. It's not a he or a she. They call it an it because it's invisible, right? But
Okay.
beneath that God are these eons, right? And the one closest to it is Sophia. And Sophia is the Greek word for wisdom. And so wisdom has like a feminine context to it. She accidentally thinks by herself. Okay. So she's a goddess, whatever. She is not supposed to think without permission of her male counterpart, who is called Bolero or something. I don't know. It doesn't really Babello, Babel, something stupid. I don't know. But anyway, he's the male counterpart. Think of it as like yin and yang, like a yin
Okay.
yang. So like you've got your darkness and your light, your black and your white, your male and your female. Like they go together.
Okay.
You can't be complete without your female or your male counterpart, right? So
Okay.
Sophia's not supposed to think on her own, right? But she did. She was like, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if I created a god on in a material world? And it would be just like us and it would be great, you know?" And so she had this thought without permission from her male counterpart, and she created Yahweh, whatever, the bad guy. And so it was her fault. She messed up and she created this bad god who, because she didn't get permission, he turned out he wasn't a good god. He was a bad god. He was a selfish god. Okay. And so he's imperfect and ignorant and created a corrupt world, but he thought this world was great. Okay. Wisdom is so upset and disturbed that Barbelo, that's his name, and her crack this plan to go back to Earth to fix their fuck up, right?
Okay.
So Barbello, also known as Forethought, which I'll just call him Forethought from now on because it's wisdom and forethought. Those
Okay.
are the yin and the yang, right?
Okay.
And so Forethought's like, okay, I got a plan. We're gonna give him a soul, and the soul is
Okay.
going to make him good, Adam, right? Yahweh's like, well, I'm gonna give him emotions. I'm gonna give him passion and anger and lust and greed and whatever. I'm gonna give him all these emotions, right? And that's gonna keep him from listening to his soul. Okay. It's gonna confuse him, right? And
Okay.
he's gonna forget that Sophia, wisdom, and forethought are the true gods, right? Okay, and so that is basically a analogy of today's humanitarian struggle. So it's like we all have souls, we all have like this divine spark within us, right? But our emotions like keep us from, like greed, for example, keeps us from being the good person that we could be.
Okay.
Um, and so wisdom was hidden inside Adam to help Adam realize his true destiny. Yahweh figures this out and tries to capture wisdom, right? And so in his soul was wisdom because it's all fucking
Okay.
connected. I don't know. And so Yahweh was like, Yahweh was like, I need to capture wisdom. So I'm going to take her out of Adam's body, okay, as a rib, okay?
Okay.
So he
I
takes her
This is
out as a
ringing
rib.
bells.
Yep. And then creates Eve. Okay. And he's
Okay.
like wanting to create Eve so that he can get wisdom out of Adam's body. But this plan backfires because Adam just listens to Eve. Eve is like, hey, what's up? I'm wisdom. Listen to me. And that's why Eve tells Adam to eat the fruit, right? And so
Okay.
in the Orthodox creation myth, Adam does tell Eve to eat. Sorry, Eve tells Adam to eat the fruit. And in the Gnostic creation myth, the same thing happens. Eve tells Adam to eat the fruit. Um, but in the Orthodox version of this, Eve is the bad guy, the bad girl, if you will.
She's
She's a bad,
wisdom, really,
yeah,
but
she's
okay.
she's a bad influence. And so this story was rewritten by Orthodox Christians at the time to portray females in a bad light,
Okay.
in a light in which they females need to be, um, they need to be taught and they can't be leaders, and they're not very smart, or like they'll just cause problems if they are
Yeah.
given free will to do whatever they want. So they need a strong man, or they need the patriarchy to tell them what to do, right? Eve
Okay.
shouldn't have told Adam to eat the fruit. Adam should have told Eve not to eat the fruit,
Not
right?
to. Okay.
But in the
Right.
Gnostic myth, Eve was really wisdom, just saying, hey, Adam, if you eat this fruit, it's magic fruit. I know this is ridiculous. If you eat this magic fruit, you'll remember where you came from. You'll
Right.
remember the divine spirit and how pure and good you are, right? And so
Okay.
in the Gnostic myth, Eve is good, but in the Orthodox myth, she's this like idiot woman that like brought sin upon all of the humans in the world,
Right.
and is the reason why we're so imperfect. So it's a huge difference
Huge.
as you
Yeah. Huge
yeah,
difference. I see it. Okay.
yeah, okay. It was kind of hard to get there because this stuff is pretty complicated and crazy. But so Yahweh is pissed. So he tries to prevent them from eating from the tree of knowledge, right? But an
Okay.
eagle, not a snake, comes and tells them it's okay. So they do. And in doing so, something called afterthought, which is just another hippy dippy version of a god, um, he comes in and makes Yahweh even more mad. And so he expels them from the Garden of Eden. But that's not all. He sees wisdom, or Eve, wisdom and Eve are the same at this point, shining, because there's a light shining from within her, right?
Okay.
And he fucking rapes her. Like in this
Okay.
Gnostic creation myth, yeah, Yahweh rapes Eve, right? Because he's like, I'm trying to get wisdom. Like I want to get wisdom out so that I
Right.
can control, right? And I don't want wisdom to corrupt, if you will, all these people that I want to control. But wisdom is unharmed because she was able to leave Eve's body before the rape occurred, which I'm like, well, what about Eve? Eve was
Right.
not Eve was not unharmed. But
So I know that wisdom is supposed to be like a good person in this book,
mhm.
but I still feel like women are still getting the bad and then the
Yes.
stick too.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like both of them I mean, it's a little bit better.
It's better, right?
And we'll get to that with Mary. Like Mary was a lot better in Gnosticism than in Orthodox Christianity, but like
Okay.
yeah, like ultimately wisdom like she couldn't think by herself. But I think
And
that was
also, like, she messed up by creating him,
yeah,
she's
yeah.
still holding
It
all
does
the
it does
blame.
feel weird, but actually I'm glad you brought that up because if let's just say wisdom's counterpart, which I said was forethought, right?
Poor thought.
If
Uh-huh.
forethought had done what wisdom had done, it would have been the same thing. Does that make sense?
Right.
So
Yes.
forethought isn't allowed to think without wisdom either. It just
Okay.
so happens that it was wisdom that made the mistake. But so I see what you're saying, but like
Yeah.
the way that Gnosticism is set up is like they use gender as symbols, but they do think that women are equal and should be
Okay.
leaders in the church. And Mary Magdalene is proof of that. But they use gender as like symbols, and it can get kind of confusing sometimes.
Okay.
But anyway, from this rape, Cain and Abel are born. And Cain and Abel are characters in the Old Testament that
Yes.
some people think they're twins. Some people think they're just brothers, but I don't know. The Bible isn't very clear on that. But anyway,
Cain
Cain,
tries to kill Abel, right?
no,
In
he
in the Bible?
succeeds. Yeah,
Okay. Or he
yeah.
does.
Cain murders Abel, which is the
Yes.
same in the Bible.
Okay.
But the rape is the origin of sex. So in the Gnostic myth, like this is where sex comes from, is when
Okay.
Yahweh rapes Eve, and so sex is bad, I guess. And this is now how material beings are born. When Adam and Eve have sex, though, they have Seth, and we've talked about Seth like years ago on this podcast. But he's one of Adam and Eve's son, and he's considered like the godly bloodline. I don't think that matters, but well, the reason it matters is because Gnostics were also called Sethians because
Okay.
yeah, so sometimes I don't know, Sethians and Gnostics were the same, but the word no Gnostic comes from the word gnosis, which means knowledge, right? And so
Okay.
I just wanted to start by sharing that story of like how different and maybe you can start to understand why these stories were censored and banned and deliberately oppressed in early Christianity.
Right.
But essentially Gnosticism is so dangerous to the church because in Orthodox Christianity, Jesus dies for our sins, right? We are
Right.
able to just be like the shittiest person in the world, but as long as we accept Jesus into our heart, it's okay, right? And this works for the church because then the church can have power and, you can fuck up and cheat on your wife and just go to church and ask for forgiveness, right? And the
Right.
pastor can guide you and the pastor can, tithe and get money to build his
Yeah.
bigger church and like it just works for them, right? Um
Very convenient.
yeah, it's very convenient, right? But in Gnosticism, there is no sin. Jesus in some of these texts that were found in Egypt in 1945, Jesus straight up says, there's no sin. If you want to reach the divine enlightenment, if you want to become enlightened, all you have to do is listen to my teachings and have gnosis, right? Or have knowledge of the divine soul. Like essentially, like don't give in to your emotions. Remember that Yahweh put these emotions in
Right.
our bodies to distract us from the gnosis of where we came from. And where we came from, there is no greed. There is no name some sins. There is no,
Gluttony,
yeah, there is no gluttony. There's no power
jealousy,
struggle. Yeah, there's no jealousy or rage. Like none of this exists in the divine realm, right? And
lust.
lust, exactly. So there's no passion, which I have a problem with. I feel like passion is a
Yeah,
good one.
that's
We
why I'm
should
like,
have
yeah, this
passion.
doesn't sound
Yeah,
very good.
none of this shit makes any sense, okay? But it's fun to talk about. But anyway, and it's fun to talk about because the church is just a fucking scam.
Right.
It's all a scam because this was all written, or these teachings were recorded shortly after Jesus died, and let's just pretend like Jesus was a real guy and he said all these things. If he's
Right.
walking around saying that sin isn't real, all you have to do is like listen to your, deep into your soul about what is right, and you'll go to heaven. Oh, by the way, heaven isn't really a place. It's all around you. You just have to wake up. That's another thing that he's saying.
So maybe Jesus was the one who was eating the mushrooms?
And probably, they probably all were. But you know, he essentially says like heaven is not a building. It's not a place. It's all around you. Like it's not in the he I think he even uses the word clouds or sky. It's not up in the sky. It's here on earth. It's the kingdom of earth. You just can't see it yet. Once you have gnosis, you will see it, right? So you can
Okay.
imagine how leaders of the church so at the same time this is all happening, like Jesus is already dead. You've got these Gnostic people that are like, hey, Jesus said there's no sin. Jesus said that heaven is already here on earth as long as we're just like kind to each other, right? We just have to
Right.
like not be controlled by our emotions, and heaven on earth will appear. And so there's this one guy named Irenaeus, and he fucking hates the Gnostics. Okay. He hates them so much that he talks shit about them. He calls them heretics. That's where the word heresy comes from. I think I'm
Okay.
saying that right. Heresy. But anyway, he doesn't like them, and he thinks, there is a heaven and there is a hell and all that stuff. But Jesus has said in these Gnostic writings that like there isn't really like a salvation. Like there isn't going to be a day of salvation or a day of judgment. Okay. If you want to be saved, you just have to what I've been saying, like look into your soul, like have this gnosis, whatever. Let's just say you die before you reach gnosis. What happens?
Right.
You don't go to hell because there is no hell, right? You just get reincarnated into another material being until you
Okay.
reach gnosis, right?
Okay.
Which is wild to me. So anyway, let's
But
fast
people
forward.
do believe like that they've been reincarnated, right? There's people who have like stated their past lives, and if you look it up, there's like evidence that that life existed, whether
Mhm,
it was theirs or not, I don't know, but like how do they know details
exactly.
about that? It's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. I was just talking to my sister about all the stories about reincarnation and how wild they were. And but yeah, reincarnation is like a whole nother thing. It's so interesting. But like who's to say it doesn't exist? And who's to say
Right.
it's not to give us another chance, you know?
Right.
Right? And so that's what Gnostics believe anyway, which is pretty cool. But they also view the crucifixion as symbolic rather than like a literal sacrifice of sin, because if remember, there is no sin,
Right.
right? So it's more like a symbolic act of like transcendence of the material world as a demonstration of enlightenment. So Jesus was sent by the invisible God basically to help humans find gnosis so they can achieve this transcendence, right? Which sounds a lot
Okay.
to me, it sounds a lot like Buddhism and other forms
Okay.
of religion, where it's like you just want to reach this state of like peace, you
Of
know?
Zen.
Zen, yeah, yeah. So, but if you think about it, like if everyone was like Buddha, or Jesus, don't you think that the kingdom of heaven would already be here?
Right.
You
Well, because
know?
that's the idea, right? It's already
Yeah,
here. We just
yeah,
have to discover it.
yeah. Like, why do people think that there's like a place up in the clouds that like is perfect and peaceful? It's like that could be here if we all just tried to do it. Like, I think that's the
Right.
idea, is it's supposed to be here. There
Yeah.
is no
We
heaven
don't
or
have to wait
hell.
to die and go there.
Hmm.
We could just make it here.
Hmm. But
Okay.
you
I
know,
see.
the problem with this Gnosticism is people are suffering because of other people.
Right.
So, I mean, that's just like, of course, there's going to be holes in every religion,
Yeah.
because religion is just a bunch of fake stories written by men to ultimately have control over other people.
Right.
But I do think Gnosticism was a little bit more genuine than Orthodox Christianity.
Okay.
It's more of like Buddhism. Buddhism isn't meant to control other people, but
Right.
Christianity has sadly evolved into this form of oppression and patriarchy,
Yes.
which brings me to Mary Magdalene. Um, which, I'll be brief, but basically, for a very long time she was considered the prostitute,
Right.
the repenting prostitute who was like weeping at Jesus's feet, cleaning Jesus's feet, right?
Right.
That I don't know where that myth came from, but there is no evidence anywhere that she was a prostitute. So,
Rumors. Someone started the rumor.
right? And it's just like the whole rumor of like it could just be lost in translation
Her
because this
ex.
this fucking thing was, yeah, yeah. Well, I have some things to say about that. But this thing, the Bible has been translated and modified, and there were texts like the Gospel of Mary that was in it that was taken out. And the Gospel of Mary is like it's the only Gnostic gospel that isn't complete. People went to great lengths to, maybe it was it could have been the pages that the mom burned used as kindling,
Right.
but people went to great lengths to censor what Mary Magdalene has said.
Huh.
We still don't know everything that she said about Jesus because her gospel is incomplete. And
Huh.
it's one of the only gospels that is incomplete. And to me, that's like, wow, one of the most powerful women in our history is still censored. We still don't
Right.
know what she wanted to say, right? Here's something cool. The fact that there's no evidence that she was a prostitute, right? Whatsoever. Like, there's absolutely no evidence. You know what there is evidence of? That she was Jesus's sugar mama. Like,
Oh,
she had the money and she
really?
fed him as he went around teaching. She bankrolled that whole fucking journey because,
But how does she
like,
make her money?
she came from, it was just family money.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So
Well, yeah, why does
Magdalene,
she need to be a prostitute if she already has money?
exactly. So her story has been so twisted and convoluted. And hey, maybe that's wrong. Maybe she didn't have family money, but there is evidence to suggest that because like if you think about it, how did Jesus just like, because if he was a human man, which Orthodox Christians believe that he was like a human man
Right,
who had to eat and drink and shit and sleep and probably had
right.
sex with Mary, but how did he do that? I guess he probably relied on like the donations of other people,
Right.
but she came from, Magdalene is a city or a town of higher socioeconomic status. So if you
Okay.
came from Magdalene, you had money. So her name was
Okay.
Mary of
Meg.
Magdalena. I think
Okay.
Magdalena was the name of the city. So,
Ah, okay.
which I never knew until I watched
Yeah.
this thing. Yeah.
So that's very different than the version we know.
And the other version we know is that she was his lover, and that sort of undermines her power too, because she was more than his lover. Like, she was his most trusted apostle. Like, I don't think they ever called her a disciple. But I don't know why she wouldn't be a disciple, but like she was an apostle to the apostles is how they described her, because it was sort of like Dwight Schrute being assistant to the manager instead of like
Right.
assistant manager, is like you're not really an apostle. You're like an apostle to an apostle, because there's,
Sexism.
yeah, because of sexism. But all of these Gnostic writings that were found in Egypt in the 40s, and there are others that were found in different parts of Egypt and different parts of the world in like the late 1800s. So within the past 200 years, which is a very short time
Right.
frame, all of these Gnostic writings have. So that's why maybe we haven't heard of this. It's
Right.
relatively new, and it's being oppressed deliberately by the Catholic Church, by
Right.
the Pope, because there isn't really supposed to be a Pope. You know, that's another
Right.
thing I didn't get. Like, isn't the Pope a false god? Why are we worshiping the Pope?
But that is also why a lot of Christians don't see Catholics as Christians, you know?
Mm.
Didn't we have
Okay.
that whole issue with Hexit? There's one of them like or somewhere in the administration kind of like saying like Catholics really aren't part of when we talk about Christians, we don't mean
Okay.
Catholic.
Oh, well, that's problematic to say because they are very
Yes.
Christian. But yeah, they're
But
very
that's
Orthodox. Yeah.
right.
hmm hmm
And me
And
knowing Christians that aren't Catholics,
hmm
I know that that is how a lot of them feel
yeah, they
because
have a problem with it.
they pray to other, San Lazaro and this and that and the Patriot
Right.
Saint this
hmm
and to them that's like that's false gods. And
hmm
so
hmm
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point to bring up. Yeah. And you know more about Catholicism than I do.
Not a whole
Uh,
lot, but I just know,
I
like
know
things
nothing. So,
and I know that like other Christians are like, yeah, no, that's not cool because that's false idols. And there's only one God and there's only one person we're supposed to pray for and ask for. And I remember always hearing like, why do we need to pray to the Virgin Mary when we have a direct line to God? But I'm like, isn't that the same thing when you pray to Jesus
hmm
to
yeah.
ask God for something? But Jesus and God are the same person. I
The whole, yeah. It is so, well, you know why it's such a hot ass mess is because of the translations, the lost in translation. It's like
right,
it's been thousands of years of like these things, being translated from Aramaic, which was the language that Jesus spoke, to well, I know they're the Coptic, which is like an early Greek language, and then Greek, and then fucking Italian, and then English. you
right.
know,
Like,
um, like you could. It's the worst game of telephone that has
yeah.
ever existed.
And then
Oh
at the end
man.
of the day, it's just a story that a man wrote or men.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But anyway, yeah, so to wrap all this up, the church had to choose in Rome in 325 CE at something called the Council of Nicaea. Gnosticism was officially declared heresy, and that's probably when all these things started to get buried, right? And
okay.
so, or physically buried and metaphorically buried as well,
Right.
because the church could not have a narrative of self-empowerment out there, because if there was a teaching that you could empower yourself into transcending spirituality, into becoming this like peaceful person to
You don't
reach
need the church.
enlightenment. Yeah, you don't need the church. Yeah. so
Yeah.
so that's pretty much it. Thanks for sticking with me through that crazy, confusing journey that is religion.
That was pretty interesting though.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know that I would buy into that one either, like as a form of religion.
Right.
Still not there, but it does sound better than what current Christians also, I don't know.
hmm
I don't know.
Yeah, and so because it was discovered, like the Gospel of Mary was discovered, like I said, in the 1890s, but again in 1945, which is
Right.
how they knew it wasn't like bullshit. But it basically, it changed the narrative that she was a prostitute. It
Right.
it said it proved that women can be leaders in the church. Um, and it proved that Christianity is just using the patriarchy as a form of control, right?
Right.
And it relates to today because we still see like the most oppressive way, uh, the most oppressive like strategy is Christianity.
Right.
God wants you barefoot, pregnant and in the kitchen,
Right. It's God's will.
Yes, the divine will. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. Go to college to get an education, not a husband, and
Yes.
don't ban books, even the Bible, right?
Just ban bigots.
There you go.
This episode has been engineered and mixed by your hosts, Jennifer and Courtney.
You can listen to the Milf for Books podcast on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, or literally any podcast app you want.
Check out our Milf for Books YouTube page. That's MILF, 4, Books. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Follow the show on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and Blue Sky at Milf for Books. Again, that's MILF, 4, Books. But follow us on TikTok at Moms into Literary Freedom.